Okay, so this is the cone that you see that you're going to create. The effects in this palette right here, the layers panel, I'll just stretch it over here so you can see it. This section here shows the background layer. It has a transparent background, but it also has these layers separate. And the drop shadow, when I turn it off, is just the effects under the effects panel. So when this is double clicked on, these are all the effects that are there. And when you take a look down at the bottom, drop shadow is turned off of that. So in order to create this part, I have you make a new document that's 8.5 by 11 at 300 pixels per inch, or DPI is for the dots per inch, same formatting, and that'll give you that particular scenario for this. So the new document, when it comes open this window, it recently was 8.5 by 11 for the recent file I chose, and demonstrated before that the print gives you all the different sizes from letter, legal, tabloid, different PC size as well, and formatting horizontal, portrait, or landscape. So that's kind of the selection as it goes through it. So as you create this file, this is on a white background, so it's kind of nice just to get it set up. It's locked, and I'm just going to click a layer above it, double click the name, and just type it cone. And the first part is over on the tool panel, is to take the marquee selection, gives options at the top, and make this selection then goes into the gradient, which is the shadow. And if you click, all the tools have a little corner, gives you different tools within it. So when you become familiar, you'll see those. The options panel gives you the gradient editor, and up at the top you can see I already have copper selected, but there's a number of them, some that have transparencies, little icons that allow you to change the shading colors. So I just collect the copper because it's already shaded, and the linear format. So if I go from edge to edge and hold the shift key down, it puts a straight line in there. Edit and undo, you get about one undo for the Command Z, and then you have to go to step backwards just because of the time and the memory. So when I undo that, if I just click and drag, you can see it goes diagonally depending on which way you drag or how far you drag. So I can go from top to bottom just to show you. The shift key keeps things straight, and that'll give you that section. So it's just a matter of that. Once that is placed in there, then you have the transformation, and you can do a couple of options here. You can use the keystroke, and they say Command T, and the handles show up. Just escape that, and just going to show, here's the selection tool. It shows the transformation keys as well. Okay, but if you hit Command T, it's the same as going to transform perspective up here. It doesn't look like anything's changed, but when you grab it from the corner and drag it right to the midpoint, that gives you a perfect cone shape right to the top. If I undo that as well, so there it is, dragged right to the piece there, and go ahead and click OK, or hit return. Okay, so I deselected, and now I have the part I'm trying to make it as a rounded bottom. So I Command plus just to zoom in. Marquee, take the elliptical selection. As soon as I click this, I can make an ellipse and hit delete, and it shows you how it takes out a piece, but just hit Command Z. If I hold the shift key, it also makes a perfect circle, and just showing you by punching a hole in it just so you can see what it's doing. With the spacebar, I can move it along. I can try to put it right at the corner and right at this corner that you can see this, and hold the spacebar so I have the right width, and try to place it right above it, just touching the tangent of the bottom corner of this, bottom edge. If I delete that, it's kind of where we're headed, but I want to do the opposite, so I'm going to take a rectangle, and right up here it tells you can add to this, so I'm going to add to this section. And now if I hit delete, it takes it out, but I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go to Edit, Undo, or Command Z. In this case, go to Select, and here you have the option to inverse the selection. And now when I hit delete, everything disappears that I don't want there. Now when I deselect it, I have this marquee tool, but if I hold the Command key, it turns into the selection tool, allows me to click off or I can just hit select, deselect, or Command D, and it does that part. So now this cone is on its own, and the rhymes, so I double click in order to get this drop shadow. The drop shadow shows right up. I can click and move it on the screen. If you notice in the window next to it, the angle of the shadow happens to be adjusted, so it's kind of a nice adjustment way to do it. The opacity is at 100% is going to be solid black. Opposite is going to be invisible. So I'm trying to look for a nice gray. The distance I already did manually. The spread is the crispness of the shadow. And the size is how large or small the blur is going to be on that shadow. So just want to kind of get a nice drop shadow there. If I hit the Command R, it'll hide my rulers. If I hit the letter F once or twice, it makes it so that the screen is just showing that image. Okay. So I can bring it back again and bring the section